anime fans, it's Katie Cullen with FANVERSATION.com, and I am here at Anime Pasadena 2022. Here's who I talked with today. I'm here with Elizabeth Maxwell. How are you doing today?
I am a little jet lagged, but so glad to be here.
Hardcore at Anime Pasadena.
It's been an awesome con. Like, I've always loved this con. The attendees here are particularly lovely.
Have you had any fun fan interactions so far?
Some really excellent cosplayers. Nice. The most adorable little Link I've ever seen in my entire life. What else? A lot of Albedo love. California, you're always good for some Albedo love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the weather is usually good for that kind of outfit, as opposed to if you go to a con in Maine right now. It's like, put a coat's good. Yeah. Speaking of Albedo, she had an incredible season this past season of Overlord. What did you think of the developments, her new role in Nazarick? Like, talk to me a little bit about that.
I just I love seeing Albedo in her like more official role. I mean, not that I don't love playing her when she's being kind of like her silly little passionate self, but it's fun to see like the more bureaucratic version of her, and it's real fun to see her like take people to task. Because I feel like I get to play the passionate side of Albedo a lot, but we don't get to see the like angry, offended side of her quite as often. So that was pretty fun to explore this season.
Yeah, we definitely got a good amount of that this season.
Yes, heads will roll,
and then be put in boxes and given as terrifying gifts. No, yeah. I love it. What did you pull from? How did you get into that angrier, more official voice for her?
Oh, gosh. Well, okay, so you know the whole, like, I can make fun of, like, my own family or, like, my brother as much as I want, but the minute, like, you say anything, I'm very protective of, like, my friends and my family that way. So, you know, that's just kind of what I imagined.
That's fair. Pull from your experiences and put it on amazing.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Ruby. Mm-hmm. You play Winter, and she had an incredible development over the course of this past season and is now our Winter Maiden. Like, were you surprised when this happened? Did you know it was coming down the line?
It was hinted at that by the writers to me, because I'm friends with a lot of the writers. So, you know, they don't necessarily give me too much info ahead of time, so sometimes they'll kind of like,
hey, her name's Winter.
So it's like, I was initially like, ooh, goody, like, I'm so excited. But then I got the script, and I was like, yay. Oh, no, the cost is too high. So it was like a real big flip.
Oh, yeah.
Excitement and then absolute dismay.
I think that's about right. Like, that entire season was excitement and then dismay.
Yeah. And Penny's always been one of my favorite characters, so she's just like, she's everything that's like good in us.
Yes. So that was a rough one. People not watching Ruby are like, what are you talking about? Watch Ruby. So where do you want to see Winter's arc go from here? I'd imagine that if she is in the next season, you've already recorded your parts, etc. So without spoilers and without NDA issues, where would you like to see her go from here? What would you like to see happen next for Winter?
Man, we left her in such an interesting space. Because it's like, not only is she utterly grief-stricken, but she's also been placed in a leadership role of sorts, which, like, I know that we think of Winter as being like a commanding, powerful presence, but she's always been under the auspices of somebody else. Mm-hmm. She's never really been the one in charge. And so now we've got her in this position of like incredible responsibility, but also dealing with some of the like deepest, darkest shizzle
fair.
that I think she's probably ever encountered in her life. So I am just real interested to see how she juggles that. Because, I mean, not to get like too personal, but like I've been dealing with some like kind of heavy family stuff lately. And, you know, when you get to be like our age, like, you're not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's an honor to be able to, like, step in and help your family. But, like, it's a lot of responsibility and intense feelings. And so, and I almost lost my dad. You know, thankfully I didn't. But we did very nearly lose my dad. So I feel like I kind of get where she's at. And it's a whole new frontier. So I think we're going to see a different side to Winter next season.
Well, I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that, because this season looks like it might be a little removed from the rest of the action. So it'll be interesting to see. Speaking of very interesting seasons, My Hero Academia has some wild stuff going down right now. So I'd like to hear a little bit from you about Midnight's role in this. Because like Albedo, we see a lot of her kind of being goofy and enamored, and that's her thing. And now we have her being very serious business.
Yeah.
Because it's a serious business sort of season. So what's your approach to that? Like, how do you do that for her?
It's been really gratifying to see, because it's like, you know, Midnight's a teacher. You know, she's always kind of had that role with the kids, but I see more of like a protective maternal side coming out of her. And it's been really fun to see like her obvious care for the kiddos. Sorry, they'll always be kiddos.
No,
to
that's
me.
yeah.
But also like how she's gently but firmly pushing them to be better.
Yes.
And it's like, how do you strike that balance of like, we're in a very serious, intense situation, but I recognize that like you're still a kid and you're doing your best, but I need you to like push yourself even harder. So, you know, kind of striking that balance has been fun.
It's the Venn diagram overlap of teacher, mentor, hero.
Yeah.
So that's, how do you prepare for that specific aspect of her for this season, let's say?
Well, you know, it's really interesting, honestly, with the, you know, the explosion, the new dawn of like simuldubs, we don't really get a chance to prepare for this stuff. Because it used to be that like when we would dub things, we would often have like the whole season like ready to do at once. And so I could do research. I could watch the sub ahead of time if I wanted and see where my character's arc went. But with simuldubs, a lot of times we don't have that luxury.
Oh no.
Yeah, because you know they're coming out like almost at the same time, or sometimes with just like so little gap in between them that I don't necessarily have time to watch the dubbed episode, or sorry, the subbed episode before I do the dub. So it's a lot of fast thinking on your feet. Which is honestly why I tell people who want to get into voice acting that like improv classes are like super helpful, because especially with anime dubbing, there is a lot of like quick decision making and like emotional prep that you have to do.
And I would imagine for Midnight, it helped to have the first 2 seasons, etc., under your belt before the simuldubbing really kicked in. I don't think the first seasons were simuldubbed. I don't remember. It's been a few years.
I honestly don't remember either. Like, we just got out of an Attack on Titan panel and somebody was like, it's been almost 10 years. And I was like, wait, what?
They're not
Seriously?
wrong, but also, oh no.
We've been working on this for almost 10 years? Holy crap. And, you know, my hero's like not that much farther behind.
Yeah. So we're speaking of Attack on Titan and that 10-year anniversary, man alive. The series is evidently drawing to a close. I say evidently because there's like 5 or 6 parts to the final season at this point.
It's the finale that never ends.
It just keeps going. People love it, so it's the band that keeps coming out for encores. How do you feel about that?
What about the fact that the finale just never ends?
Oh no, that it's ending at some point in the near future, presumably. Either or.
I mean, I haven't read ahead in the manga.
Neither have I.
So I'm just like, I need to see how this story like concludes, because there's a lot of crazy shizzle going on in this season, and I'm just like, what are some of these characters thinking? Who are they? And so I'm ready. I mean, I'm ready for it to end just because I'm ready to have my questions answered. It's going to be a sad day when it does finally end. But I guess when your character's already gone the way of the dodo, it makes it a little easier to see the show end, but
Still a vested interest, but no longer a personal interest.
the interest has turned more fan, and I just want my answers.
That's absolutely fair. I think we all do. Speaking of fans, is there anything you would like to say to your fans? Open mic.
Just that y'all are the absolute best, and you are truly one of the best parts of my jobs. Like, a lot of times people don't realize how solitary doing voice acting can be. We don't usually get to work with our coworkers. It's just us in a booth.
With a director and an engineer, maybe?
Yeah, if we're recording in person. Otherwise, they're piped into our ears and, like, we're the only one there. So, like, coming to the cons or getting to interact with you guys on social media, it, like, reminds me that, like, I'm not just screaming into the void, and that, you know, you guys are, like, as passionate about this as I am, and it's just so gratifying, and I just love y'all.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.